The F-22 Raptor was once hailed as the world's most advanced fighter, with unparalleled capabilities and cutting-edge technology that give it a significant advantage over any competitor. However, despite the initial success, the U.S. Air Force made the surprising decision to discontinue production of the F-22 Raptor in 2011, leaving many to wonder why such a formidable aircraft would be abandoned. The reasons for the Air Force's decision to abandon the F-22 Raptor are complex and varied, with a combination of technological, financial, and strategic factors playing a role in determining the ultimate fate of the type. This once promising fighter. The Air Force has been clear about its plans for the F-22 Raptor to be retired in the 2030s, seemingly drawing parallels between it and another legendary air-to-air fighter that flew into dusk earlier. Many expected, the Navy's F-22 14 Cat Tom. You may be wondering, how do older jets like the F-15 and F-16 still function if the aging F-22 is no longer relevant? It's a fair question, and like Tomcat in the early 2000s, the answer stems from a simple matter of cost versus capacity. Unlike the Raptor, which has been out of production for over a decade, the F-15 and F-16 have never really stopped rolling off the assembly line. The new US F-15EX, for example, benefits from a series of avionics upgrades that require the same kind of hardware changes that would seem extremely expensive for the Raptor. But most upgrades that grant is actually funded from time to time by foreign clients such as Qatar and Saudi Arabia. Importantly, because these planes are widely operated and still in production, maintenance costs are lower, logistics are simpler, and parts are much easier to find. The F/A-18 Super Hornet is also an older platform that is still in use, but it is now also expected to be retired sometime in the 2030s. The balance between cost and capacity. The Air Force has to make some tough cost decisions because it has very little time when it comes to capacity requirements, or the number of jets needed to fulfill its obligations. Defense of the United States. The fact of the matter is, no matter how capable a fighter jet is, it can still only be in one place at a time, and that means making sure the Air Force has enough aircraft. Fight to meet his needs. A Raptor can shoot down 3 F-16s in a single sortie, but it can't really do the job of those 3 F-16s at once. In other words, competence is sometimes not as valuable as competence. If you need 400 fighters to fulfill your mission requirements but can only buy 200 stealth jets, you can simply operate 100 stealth jets and 300 stealth jets cheaper fourth-generation matches to get the job done. The question of cost versus capacity is not a new one. In fact, it was offered to justify the early dismissal of another air combat generator loved by most people, except its maintainers and the Dodds accountants, Grumman F-14 Tomcat. Raptor and Tomcat. In service since 1974, the F-14 is called by some as the world's first fourth-generation fighter, and although that title remains controversial, the combat potential is absolute. The F-14's popularity and its frenzied popularity following its appearance in Top Gun in 1986 can be considered parallels to the Raptor of today. While all American fighters have their own fan clubs, few are as widely beloved by aviation fans as the Tomcat or the Raptor. In fact, the F-14's $38 million price tag in the early 70s might seem like a bargain today, but when adjusted for 2022 inflation, it costs nearly $230 million for per airframe, only $1 million more than the F-22. The price per unit is $150 million per airframe when also adjusted for today's inflation. And while the Raptor's troublesome radar-absorbing coating and limited propulsion performance are said to require between 40 and 43 hours of maintenance per flight hour, the Tomcat is said to require 50 or more man-hours per hour. In the sky, thanks to its intricately variable geometry wings and, well, its limited propulsion performance. Like the Tomcat, the Raptor was built to win a global conflict that never happened, and that would justify its huge maintenance requirements and costs amid nuclear annihilation. Are lurking. Once these threats wore off, the high cost of these fighters became harder to justify in political debates, resulting in both having to retire early compared to their peers. It's entirely possible that, like the F-14, the F-22 will retire without ever seeing the war it was designed to fight. And like Tomcat, Part of the credit for stopping that terrible war lies right on the wings of the Raptor. In conclusion, while the F-22 Raptor may no longer be the most advanced fighter in the world, it still holds a valuable place in the U.S. military's arsenal. Despite the challenges of maintaining and upgrading the aging fleet, the Air Force continues to invest in the F-22, realizing its unique capabilities and role in modern warfare. As long as there are threats to national security and the need for advanced air superiority persists, the military will not completely abandon the F-22 Raptor. However, the future of the aircraft will depend on a delicate balance between maintaining its capabilities and dealing with the realities of the changing military landscape.